The detail nobody mentioned at the Green Bay practice session. And that could define September. There's something happening in Green Bay that the fans feel even before they understand why. It's not just another day at camp. It's not just another August practice under the sun. There's a different atmosphere hanging over that field, and anyone who knows this franchise can recognize when something is brewing. Let me tell you something. When Jordan Love and Christian Watson are in sync, the rest of the league feels it. And that's exactly what happened this week. But hold on, because that's not the only story coming out of Green Bay right now. There's a rookie struggling under pressure. A name that almost nobody knew until this week is now being talked about among scouts, and a decision that will determine who completes the starting lineup in the upcoming season. The question remains, is this the season where everything finally falls into place for the Packers? Or are we just witnessing another fleeting preseason spectacle that won't survive the first real game? Stick with me until the end, because I saved the most important detail of this report for last. And leave a like if you also felt that shiver watching the workout videos this week. Hello everyone. If you enjoy the content and want to understand the ins and outs of American football in a simple way, or simply want to support the channel's continued growth, I've put together a comprehensive guide to the game's rules and mechanics. If you're watching on TV, point your phone's camera at the on-screen QR code to access it. If you're watching on your phone, the direct link is in the description and the pinned comments. For just $7.99, you can purchase the official ebook and invest directly in improving our videos here. The QR code is on the screen, and the link is pinned in the first comment and included in the description. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Our goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers, and you can be part of this milestone. Christian Watson isn't a name that comes up in top league conversations. His overall season statistics don't do him justice. But pay attention to this snapshot. From Week 8 until last year's wildcard game, when he returned from that brutal ACL injury, Watson was, in practice, a top 10 wide receiver in the entire NFL. 7 touchdowns, an average of 17 yards per reception, and a drop rate of just 2.6%, one of the best in the entire league at that point in the season. That's not luck. That's a receiver who, when healthy, changes the Packers' game. And that's exactly what happened again in the last training sessions. Aaron Nagler, who covers the team closely, described a play where Love came out of the play action and hit Watson perfectly, cutting through a hole in the zone, 15 yards away. Perfect timing. Execution from someone who's played a lot of basketball together, and it didn't stop there. A few minutes later, Watson hit Keshawn Nixon on a slant, and Love found him on the run, resulting in about 35 yards. You've probably heard, Christian Watson caught at speed is a tough nut to crack. He may not be the guy who breaks the most tackles in the league, but if you catch him in motion, it's practically guaranteed to be a big play. But there's one troubling detail in this whole story, and I need to be honest with you about it. Over the past 3 seasons, Love and Watson have played together in just 25 games. 25. The starting quarterback and the franchise's #1 wide receiver have barely shared the field in 3 whole years. Like this video if you're also hoping this duo finally gets healthy in 2026, because when they're together, the numbers tell a completely different story. And I'll show you exactly how much later on. While one team is meeting up, another player is racing against the clock and against their own confidence. Trey Smack, a 6th-round draft pick from Florida, was supposed to be the easy solution for shooting. But recent numbers tell a different story, 5 out of 8 in practice, and now 8 out of 13 in total camp. To make matters worse, or better, depending on how you look at it, his only direct competitor was recently released to make room on the roster for long snapper Cal Adamitis, since the starter in that position is injured. I confess I didn't expect to see camp start like this for him. Trey Smack is currently the only kicker on the roster, without competition. And yet, he's still not making the kicks he needs to make. Now, before anyone starts ringing the panic bell, remember Brandon Manis last year? He was surreal in training camp, practically perfect. And then the regular season arrived and he disappeared. So maybe it's too early to draw conclusions. But it's a name to keep an eye on, because a rookie under pressure, in a position without competition, is exactly the kind of situation that could become a headache in September. Meanwhile, with the first pick in this year's draft, another story is unfolding. And this one is about opportunity born from adversity. Brandon Cece, quarterback for South Carolina, and the team's first overall pick in this draft, is getting more and more playing time with the starting 11. And the reason, unfortunately, isn't the nicest: injuries. Keisean Nixon was already out, and now Matt LaFleur has confirmed that Carrington Valentine will also be out for a few days after suffering a leg injury yesterday. Now pay attention to this. Nobody wants to see a starting player get injured. But if there's a silver lining to this whole story, it's that CeCe is being thrown straight into the fire. And that's how you forge a true player. Iron sharpens iron. There was even an interesting tactical moment in practice. Coach Jonathan Gannon testing blitzes from the perimeter, something that had already appeared in OTAs. CeCe almost got a sack on a cornerback blitz. Benjamin St-Juste also almost got one on a similar blitz. I truly believe that this type of practice against the starting team, so early in camp, can be the difference between a rookie who freezes up in the regular season and one who arrives already prepared. Now let me introduce you to someone you've probably never heard of: Anthony Campbell. Defensive tackle, undrafted, came from Seattle's practice squad, 6 feet 6 inches, 307 pounds, and this guy is quietly stealing the show. 4 passes blocked at the line of scrimmage in just 3 training sessions. There's a detail that almost no one noticed. It's very rare for a defensive tackle to consistently hit a pass at the line. This requires quick hands, timing, and refined play reading. 4 times in 3 practices is no coincidence. He's competing for a spot in a highly sought-after position. Javon Hargrave, Devontae Wyatt, and Carl Brooks already seem practically guaranteed. But if Campbell continues like this, he'll force the coaching staff to make room for him in the final roster. Anyone who follows the roster-building process knows this is how an unknown player becomes the surprise of the season. Comment below, had you heard of Anthony Campbell before this video? And turn on notifications, because in the next part, I'm going to show you the competition to decide the team's last wide receiver spot, and it's even tighter than it looks. 5 wide receiver spots already seem guaranteed: Watson, Jayden Reed, Daubs, Williams, and Sky Moore, the latter also secured due to his ability to return punts. There's 1 spot left, and it's being hotly contested between Bo Melton and Isaiah Neyor. Neyor has youth, physical stature, and speed in his favor, the ideal profile for the Z receiver role that Christian Watson currently occupies. However, Melton has real NFL experience, having already secured a roster spot in the last 2 seasons, and last year even played cornerback when needed. And Melton responded in kind this week. A reception of approximately 30 yards on the sideline, covering cornerback Simpson, in a play described as a perfect pass from Trod Taylor. In my view, this type of play, made precisely when a spot is at stake, can be more important than any routine training session. And here's the piece of information I saved for this moment, because it's what truly tells the complete story behind the Love and Watson connection. Remember when I told you that, in the last 3 seasons, they only played 25 games together? Well, look what happened in those 25 games. 67 receptions, 1,312 yards, an average of 19.6 yards per reception, and 8 touchdowns. This isn't just chemistry. Statistically, this is one of the most productive duos in the entire league when they're on the field. The problem has never been talent. The problem has always been health. And that's exactly why seeing the 2 of them reunite like this at camp, with this level of synchronicity in the first few weeks, is a real reason for excitement in Titletown. Green Bay is not a franchise that accepts mediocrity. They have 13 titles, the legacy of Lombardi. They're the only community-owned team in the NFL, and Lambeau's cool head carries history in every snap. When this fan base sees a spark like that, they dream big, because they've seen this team go far before. Xavier McKinney also had an interception in this practice, the NFL's 2024 interception leader, showing he hasn't lost his touch. It's August. It's normal for Love to miss a ball like that. But it serves as a reminder. The defense is evolving along with it. The question remains, will 2026 be the year that Love and Watson finally get healthy enough to show what they're capable of together? Or will we watch this duo shine for a few games again and then disappear mid-season? Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with anyone else who's waiting for Green Bay to become dominant again. We'll follow this together day after day until the season begins. Hello everyone. If you enjoy the content and want to understand the ins and outs of American football in a simple way, or simply want to support the channel's continued growth, I've put together a comprehensive guide to the game's rules and mechanics. If you're watching on TV, point your phone's camera at the on-screen QR code to access it. If you're watching on your phone, the direct link is in the description and the pinned comments. For just $7.99, you can purchase the official ebook and invest directly in improving our videos here. The QR code is on the screen, and the link is pinned in the first comment and included in the description. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Our goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers, and you can be part of this milestone.